The Age of Expectation is a chapbook for the UBC Slam Poetry Club, made by Carla Savicherianga and Zach Kanevsky. It features the poetry and vocal performances of these incredible student artists.
Alexa Thistle. Alexa lives in Vancouver and thinks that writing is neat. Vancouver is situated on the stolen land of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh people. Anna Gray. Anna is a compassionate poet with a tendency towards bittersweet feelings within her poems, and writing is her way of digesting her many emotions. Anna is super excited and thankful for this opportunity, she told me herself. She is originally from High River, Alberta, which is situated on the ancestral and stolen lands of the Blackfoot peoples. They call this land Ispitzi, meaning the place of high trees along running water. Drew Schenfeld. Drew explores topics around our relationships to the natural environment and the beauty in life's blunt realities. He is from Seattle, Washington, situated on the ancestral territory of the Duwamish people.
Shahat is an aspiring poet from Delhi, India, and an exec for UBC Slam Poetry who writes mostly about love, grief, and anxiety. Her poems often discuss the loss of people, control over life, and the loss of love. She's majoring in psychology at UBC and wants to become a clinical psychologist. To relax, she writes, dances, and aggressively gleans with music in her ears. She started writing when she was 11 years old, and minus the occasional writer's block, she hasn't stopped. A struggling know-it-all with undiagnosed ADHD, Shahat writes when she feels the most deeply, no matter what she feels. Hasfariza Muhammad Hassan. Hasfariza is an avid reader with a vivid imagination. She's a Malaysian writer studying political science. She has a fascination with questions and likes to analyze things from different perspectives. Hasfariza loves exploring other cultures and languages, especially since she grew up in Malaysia and Indiana, USA. Her overactive imagination inspired her to write at the age of 4, plunging her into another world, and she hopes to use her writing as a platform to give a voice to those who are underrepresented. Carla Savicherianga. Carla is a spoken word poet from Kampala, Uganda, who uses poetry as an art form to center truth, telling, and self-discovery.
Kel Ma. Kel Ma is a writer and visual artist born in Vancouver, Canada, which is situated on the ancestral territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. He is known for his reflections on queer intimacy and psychic life, along with his love for cats.
Liam Nicholas. A first-year student, Liam is not a poet or writer per se, but is simply just a human with lots of feelings. He thanks the Coast Salish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh nations, whose ancestral lands he's experienced his life on.
Leanne Lowe. Leanne Lowe is an honors English literature student at UBC. She is originally from Oakville, Ontario, which is situated on the treaty lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation in the traditional ancestral territories of the Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Attawandaron peoples. Aside from reading and writing, Leanne loves music and can frequently be found with her headphones on, playing the guitar, or as resident aux on shift at her barista job.
Maria Elena. Maria Elena is a Russian-Canadian poet from Langley, British Columbia, which is situated on the ancestral and unceded territories of the Stolo, Kwajalein, Kutsi, Matswe, and Semiahmoo First Nations. Her work explores the dissonances and nuances of growing up between two opposing cultures, as well as deconstructs notions of belonging, home, and oppression. Vancouver-based, she spends most of her time, admittedly little, capturing the world in watercolor, reading Francophone prose, and learning Arabic. Nays Majemder. Nays Majemder, at Mayo_Nays, is a first-year student living on traditional and unceded land of the Halkomelem language group, commonly known as Richmond, BC. This land has yet to be returned to the community it has lived interconnected with for hundreds of years. Nays is passionate about advocacy for equity and inclusion. At UBC, Nays studies gender, race, sexuality, and social justice, and is a humanitarian movement community officer for the UBC Red Cross. Outside of school, they work as a youth development leader, and they are the founder and president of Share Social Justice, a nonprofit organization dedicated to improving anti-sexism, homophobia, ableism, racism education through informative infographics, videos, and fundraisers. You can find Share on Instagram at Share Social Justice. Stella Zia. Stella Zia is a second-year cognitive systems major hailing from the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat and Wyandot Nations. She is graduated licensing on Substack and at Boring and Alive on Instagram. In her spare time, she can be found making homemade granola, writing songs, or coming up with pretentious theories about human nature. Thanks for listening to the Artist's Bios for the Age of Expectation. If you'd like to hear another chapbook by the UBC Slam Poetry Club, check out Truth to Power on the UBC Slam Poetry Club's YouTube or Spotify, and follow us on Instagram at UBC Slam Poetry. Thank you.